Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Richard, and welcome back to the weekly watch list video sponsored by MarketSmith. Overall, I've got 14 stocks on my focus list for next week, and we'll go through both the price and volume action as well as the fundamentals for each of these names. If you do enjoy this video, please go ahead and leave a like down below and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's dive right in and start with Oxy. So overall, energy stocks held up a lot better last week. Let's bring up that fund ownership. Oxy is consolidating really nicely right near all-time highs, pulling back on declining volume. And you've got fantastic numbers. You've got great estimates for this year and a little bit of a decrease for 2023, but still holding up super strong. And you can see that RS line is right at all-time highs. RS rating is a 99. So definitely a stock that's really up there on my focus list. I'd love to see a little bit more of a consolidation, maybe an undercut and reclaim strong close. And then that would set up a nice consolidation pivot right at this high. You can manage your risk either below this low or that low of that breakout day. So Oxy definitely high up there on my list. Also in the semi space, I think it's later on in the list, but we'll cover it now. We've got EQT. Let me type that in properly here, EQT, and you can see that it's trying to push up here. I'd love to see a little bit of sideways move consolidation and then a big move up on volume right near all-time highs. This has been super strong in the past and can really trend nicely above that 21 EMA when it gets going. Moving on down to the list, let's take a look at CELH. This also held up really nicely last week. You can see it held that consolidation high. I'd love to see maybe, one day of sideways action, inside day, and then a resumption of the uptrend. This is a little bit of a stubby consolidation or handle. I'd love to see a few more weeks of sideways action. You can see going back to a weekly chart that it only kind of paused for 2 weeks here, but a nice breakout on that weekly on an increase in volume. And you can see the earnings really come in, and they had some positive developments coming out with that deal with Pepsi. So definitely a stock to have on your radar. Right near all-time highs, you can see in terms of the weekly close, it was a lot stronger than the rest of the stocks in the market, especially the indexes, and definitely one to have on your radar. You can see fantastic estimates, huge estimates for this year and the next year as well. Nice increase in fund ownership and one high-quality fund invested as well, and decent action on Friday when the overall market finished right at these lows. Moving on to some solar names, we've got ARRY, and you can see it had a nice breakout of this flag holding that 21 EMA, filling this gap, but it couldn't quite push higher because of the rest of the market. And I'd love to see some sideways action for a few weeks, set up some contractions and some nice lower highs. That would be ideal. And then a breakout on an increase in volume through this 24 mark. Going over to a weekly, it does have some overhead supply to contend with, but you can see a lot of the volume is actually down here within the pattern. And as I mentioned in the stock market outlook video, we've got a nice inverse head and shoulders that's broken out from really nice breakout on this day. And you can see the earnings really starting to come in. And this also has fantastic estimates. No high quality fund ownership just yet, but a decent amount of funds invested into the stock. And you can see the relative strength is right at 98. Moving on to ENPH. Ideally, this also goes sideways, forms some contractions, then breaks out on high volume. Not sure what I drew here, but basically, volatility contraction pattern, that's ideal. Let that 21 EMA kind of catch up to price, and then you can manage risk right at that swing low. And I want to see a breakout on higher volume through that 308.88 pivot. Great estimates in this name as well, and great earnings numbers last quarter. Acceleration in terms of earnings, sales, as well as margins. Lots of high quality fund ownership as well, and a steady increase overall in fund ownership. Moving on to FSLR, this needs the most time of these stocks. Looking at the pattern, it's been super strong, but I love to see a consolidation for a few weeks. Let that 21 EMA catch up to price as well as a 50 SMA somewhat, and then have a breakout. And going over to a weekly, you can see this does have some overhead supply to deal with. We're right at this key level. So a pause here would be pretty natural, maybe one inside week, ideally two. And then we could have a nice push up here on ideally an increase in volume, a big blue bar on the weekly chart. Going back to the daily, we've got DQ. This I would love to see an inside day, and then this could be actionable the next day, breaking through that short-term pattern. But overall on Friday, we had a nice move, especially considering the overall market conditions, breaking through this DTL on a big pickup in volume. Great numbers. This is a China name, so be aware of that. But nice estimates for 2022, a little bit of a decrease in 2023, and overall nice increase in fund ownership, although no high quality funds invested into this stock. SWAV needs a little bit of a pause as well, but I'd love to see a pullback, let that 21 EMA catch up to price, and then basically a short-term shelf and a breakout through that pattern, through those highs, managing risk right at that swing low. or even that low of that breakout day. Looking at the earnings, you can see super strong numbers, acceleration, earnings plus 999%. Great estimates for 2023. Estimate revisions are up, and beautiful action, especially considering the overall market backdrop. NBIX also nice push here on volume. Earnings aren't quite as strong, but really nice estimates for 2023. Estimate revisions are up as well, and it's forming a really nice flag here, especially considering the market was pulling back rather sharply, and nice action, especially on Friday off that 21 EMA. So I'm watching for maybe one more push up and then a breakout through that flag, or some type of other setup using this as a potential pivot point. TH as well, really nice breakout on huge volume, holding that 21 EMA, a little bit volatile. So I'd love to see, some quietness, some volatility contraction, both in terms of price and volume, and then a push up on higher volume, managing risk right at that swing low. That would be ideal. KRTX, another super powerful mover off the bottom on huge volume. I'd love to see it hold this higher low, go sideways, quiet and tight, maybe have one big shakeout, recover, get tight again, and then breakout. That would be ideal. You can manage your risk right at this prior swing low. But this is a super powerful mover. Be aware that this is a biotech. But if you're into these type of kind of power plays, you can see this is super strong at the right-hand side on enormous volume. Going over to a weekly chart, I believe it's into all-time highs. Yep, it is, which is great. And you can see overall RS rating is a strong 99. GFS in the semi space, a little bit weak. I actually entered this on this day, got shaken out on Friday for a small loss, but it's still holding the overall structure. I'd love to see some consolidation for a few weeks, let that 21 EMA kind of flatten out under price, let that 50 SMA catch up, and then a nice powerful breakout on an increase in volume. That would be potentially the start of an institutional advance phase. It still has to break above this high, so not quite just yet, but it would be a promising breakout from this kind of overall consolidation pattern that's formed pretty much since its IPO. Really nice earnings numbers. Estimates aren't super hot, but you've already got 354 funds invested and a nice increase and good trend overall since its IPO. ON also in that semi space, holding up reasonably well above a rising 21 EMA. I'd love to see maybe a pullback to 21 EMA consolidation, get it really tight, and then breaking out through this range, managing risk right at that higher low. But it's just the type of environment in terms of the overall backdrop that these breakouts are going to fail. So I'm not super surprised by this action on Friday, and it wasn't on super high volume either. So still constructive action, and the stock is right near all-time highs when the market is well off of it and during a bear market. So this definitely is a name you should have on your radar. EQT, we already covered. CF acted super strong. I'd love to see a pullback to this prior breakout level, consolidation for a few days, and then a reversal back upwards, managing risk right at that prior swing low, but definitely super strong action on nice volume when the overall market was pulling back pretty hard. So that's pretty much it for this week's watch list. Let me know your thoughts down below on these setups, and also let me know one top idea that you have down below in the comment section. And if you did enjoy my analysis and find it helpful, please consider leaving a like down below and subscribe if you haven't yet. And with that, best of luck next week, and I'll see you guys in future videos. Take care.